time aboard. This is the Miles to Go podcast. And now here's your host, Ed Pizza.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Miles to Go podcast. Mr. Kerr has recovered. He is alive again, and I am staring at him right here as we get started. And it's good to have you back, man. How you feeling?
Recovered is a subjective word. I am out of the bed and functioning again, which the beginning of this week I was not at all. Yeah, y'all take care of yourselves out there. The Rona got me down hard. I was flying home last Friday, a very long 2 weeks in New York, and I was like, man, I am just extra done. Flew home Friday, woke up Saturday morning and was like, wow, I don't feel any better after sleeping 11 hours. And then by that afternoon, I was like, oh, I'm about to be really sick. And then Sunday, I was done. I was giving myself 10-minute pep talks to be able to turn over and take the medicine that my wife had put on the table. Like, come on, man, you can just turn over. And I'm like, no, I don't want to move. I don't remember feeling that bad ever, man. It was, so y'all wash your hands, take care of yourselves out there. The Ronas, and like so many people have gotten it in the last few weeks and will continue to get it.
Yeah, no, I've definitely heard more of it pop up. I've actually seen mask usage, jump up on planes. I would say it was, somewhere in that 10 or 15% range. Now I would say probably 20-25% of people are wearing masks. I was in Vegas this week. Definitely saw way more people than normal wearing masks in the casinos. Normally, it's at least last handful of months, it's been very few folks. People go to Vegas to party. They don't want to think about getting sick. But there's definitely quite a few folks. I'm just glad that you got a chance to take a little bit of a peek into my world. Whereas an old man, I huff and puff when I go up a flight of stairs. At least for the next few days, you could live like me.
Yeah, I finally this morning I went up and down the stairs and I was like, okay, my lungs aren't about to explode. But yeah, earlier this week I was like, daggum, like this is all that effort of August and early September doing very long bike rides. Like I'm sure it's shot. I'm not even going to try and get on a bike yet. I'm sure because that would just be so sad. I don't know, man. Good to be back.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk a little bit about Delta. By the way, did you get a chance to watch or listen to last week's episode?
No, I'll be honest, everybody. Man. I did not. I saw the attendees and I was like, this is going to be good.
Yep.
I always listen to podcasts on the plane flights, so I got a couple plane flights coming up next week. So I'll catch up during the taxi, takeoff, landing, and cruise.
It was spicy. It was spicy. I will say too, for folks who are watching us, Jeremiah, our producer, has started leaving a very small Easter egg at the end of every episode. So tune in for Jeremiah's favorites at the very end. If you're just tuned in and you want to shoot us an email, questions, comments, all that good stuff, you can do that, ed@pizzainmotion.com. You can text us and leave us a voicemail at 571-293-6659. You can find him on social media at Kerr Points on all those platforms, and me at Pizza in Motion. And last but not least, if you want to support the show, you'll find a link in the show notes to our Slack community. A couple bucks a month, and you can join the club. We have almost weekly happy hours. We got giveaways going on. I'm actually giving away a set of Bose wireless earbuds right now for members of the community, and we'll be giving away a United Club membership a little later in the year.
I'll tell you what, though, new Slack UI updates. Did that hit your laptop yet?
Yeah.
Let's go back.
It's not as bad as I was expecting it to be based on what some other folks told me, but I don't love it.
Why? Like, what was broken? What's another one of these situations of let's spend time fixing something that's not broken? Like, there was nothing broken.
Yeah.
As an avid Slack user, both personally, professionally, and leisure, like there was nothing broken with it.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play around with it much. I'm hopeful that maybe the notifications will work better, because I think that's one of the things that worked kind of poorly in the last version. Was I stopped getting notifications on a number of things. So that was definitely annoying.
I get a plethora of notifications.
Plethora.
Excess. Like it always tells me I have a notification, and then I go in there and it's like, nothing's changed, but thanks for opening the app. We got you. And we're going to keep doing it to you.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the Delta changes, get you to weigh in. I have some changes for me that I want to ask you about. And I think listening in the Slack community, it's been interesting to listen to folks talk about this. There are a number of folks who are, live in Delta hubs and have been very frank about, take Ben as one of our community members, and he said he's already applied for a Southwest credit card, and he has hit full launch eject mode, and he is dumping Delta in favor of Southwest out of Minneapolis. And he's not the only one in the community. It's beyond this, grousing, because we always get that when there's changes, everybody's something to complain about. But I see action, and we're going to talk about my actions in a bit. But I want to get your reactions to the change, because other than a few text messages, I really haven't heard really haven't heard Kerr get raw about how he feels about the
Raw.
changes.
Nobody wants to hear Kurt get raw. Dude, here's my, I don't know, we call it a hot take. For 95% of the population, you know what's going to happen? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I say that living in Atlanta, surrounded by deathly loyal Delta people. All you guys have heard it time and time again. My neighbors are flight attendants and pilots. These are Delta people through and through. Everybody's got a Delta co-brand card. When I talk to friends in the Atlanta area and they go, yeah, I was looking at flights and I'm like, oh yeah, what was it? And they're like, well, I was on delta.com. Like they don't go to Google Flights. They started Delta.
Mhm.
This doesn't mean anything. They're going to keep blindly earning Sky Miles. They're going to keep blindly flying Delta. They think it's the best domestically. It is the best product. There really is no arguing with that. It is the best in-flight experience. It is the best crew domestically. Nothing's going to change. Nobody's tracking their, I mean, it's just, there have been a few people that have reached out to me who are like the business travelers who are like, forget this, but I know them. They're not going to change. They're just going to fly nonstop everywhere. So unless you're the 5% of the population that really travels that much, that has an option, whose corporate travel policy allows you the flexibility and freedom, and you're like a diehard points and miles person, then you're going to take action, which is everybody in the Slack community. And I'm not faulting any of them for that. That's
Mhm.
great. I have not flown Delta since 2018 as a regular customer, right? And so unless you're a nerd like us, and I'm hopping to executive platinum, and now I'm United 1K, and next year I'll be United 1K, and then after that, I don't know. Like, besides that, there's a bunch of huffing and puffing and everything, but 95% of people is not going to change. Delta operating revenue is not going to change, just going to go up. The one place where I'm curious to see what happens is with their co-brand card spend. I think they might have over indexed here based on how little they're going to reward spend. There's always been that stat that I imagine if Gary was on the show last week, he threw it out that they have 1% of GDP is on Delta co-brand spend.
He did, in fact,
He
mention
loves
that.
that stat. He loves talking about that stat.
It's a great stat.
I don't know if it's actually true, but but if they've made it this less rewarding as far as status goes for credit card spend, and if they continue to do what they've done with, I mean, essentially Sky Miles are, the one argument I used to have for like flying Southwest or flying Delta over Southwest is that at least with Delta, you can get international award tickets. Now, like, you're not going to use Delta Sky Miles to fly internationally. Like maybe you are, and everybody, again, the 1% of the 1% are like, but there's such a great value intra-Asia. Like there's 7 people redeeming Sky Miles for intra-Asia flights that live here in the South, right? Nobody else cares about that. I'm curious to see what happens to their cardholder ranks on top of the adding once in a lifetime bonus language for their cards now. So as far as flying and booking tickets, nothing's going to change. As far as what happens to their co-brand portfolio, that's going to be really interesting to watch. And that's kind of my overall reaction to this.
Yeah, so a couple of things. First off, I reached out to a couple of folks that you and I know, Henry Hardevelt and Brett Snyder, Cranky Flyer, and to talk about the changes. And as I had more discussions with them and I dug a little bit more, there were a few things that came up that I think contradict part of what you said. Not whether 95% are going to stay the same. Like I don't think we'll know for a while on that. Like we just have to sort of see that. And to your point, like business travelers, you and I, like we always look to
Yeah.
shoot for nonstops anyway. But I think there are two things that I realize, and I understand that I complain a lot about United. There's lots to complain about. But I think like if we really look at the reality of it, Delta's on-time performance has really started to move back to the pack. And so that's not an advantage not a clear advantage they have anymore. In fact, like in some of the recent data, they're separated by like 1% over United. The other thing too is, and you know this because we've talked about it, they have some planes that have some age on them. The wide body fleet is
757 girls are getting old when you
so,
get on
and
those
as well
things.
as those 767s that they fly Atlanta to Las Vegas. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
don't
some
fly those.
right. And so, and here's the thing about it that's different from United because as you and I both know, United has some pigs out there as well, but United has a lot of orders, and so they have a plan for fleet update where Delta really doesn't right now. And so, what used to differentiate them was the onboard service. And while I haven't flown them a ton this year, I will say the onboard service that I received today is not as good as it was at the beginning of the pandemic. Is it better than United's? It probably is, but but again, the gap has shrunk. But I thought that Sean in the Slack community brought up an interesting comment, and I think it's one of those things that I take for granted as somebody who's been a United flyer for a long time. But he mentioned how he's like, "Hey, how come nobody's talking about the fact that even though Delta's credit card spend ratio sucks, that United's credit card spend ratio for elite status is worse. And my comment back to him is that one of the reasons why I gravitated towards the Delta cards in the first place was because they actually had a viable path to earn elite status using credit card spend. United just really never had that. It's really been a very small portion. And United elites that are consistently elite on a yearly basis, no, you're not qualifying for status using a credit card. So we just don't even bother. So like, yeah, that's an afterthought. That's like whatever.
So arguably, it's like United's always been terrible in that arena, and they just stay
Terrible.
terrible. You recognize as terrible, and there it is. Now you had something that was good that has gotten terrible. That's worse than just always being terrible.
Yes,
Right?
exactly right. Yeah, you're at anytime that you were referred to in the same sentence with United in terms of a valid comparison, you're probably not headed in the right direction, right?
I don't. We're the group chat with Sparkle Mike, who's a 1K, Summer, who's a 1K, you're
Yep.
Global Services, and now I'm a 1K, and I came in as the new guy for I don't know however many years that group chat's been going on. You guys talking about the terribleness of United. I have just not had this. Maybe I'm just not salty enough, but overall, my United flights they've been fine. Like there's some shenanigans every now and again, and this new getting left behind because they don't update the departure time like really has me in a panic. But otherwise, man, I don't have any complaints. And now, like Thomas and I are flying Atlanta to Houston in a couple weekends for a cool thing that everybody's gonna hear about by the time this episode drops. Oh, so we should talk about that actually, because we should talk about. All right, we'll go ahead and talk about it now. It's a surprise.
Sharp left-hand turn.
Yeah, by the time this airs, the new Bilt Rent Day offer will be out, and this is a pretty cool one. So we're doing a couple things. One is we're launching Bilt Experiences, so exactly what it sounds like. Think about curated in-person events that are actually really cool, and we're launching this because October is arguably the biggest sports month of the year because every major league is pretty much going on, and even the NBA starts at the end. So we're giving people the opportunity to redeem Bilt Points for NFL games. So you're going to be able to get NFL tickets for only 2,500 Bilt Points each. If you want to come hang out in a suite with us at one of 3 games on October 1st, that's suite tickets, all food, all drinks, Bilt swag, and even at the one game we're going to go on the field for an hour afterwards.
Oh wow,
and play football.
You're killing
It's
me.
only and it's only it's only 10,000 points for the suite ticket, and you can get 2 of them.
I gotta get earning.
So that's going to be really cool. So I'm going to go host the suite for Bilt at the Texans Steelers game on October 1st. So if you've listened to this, actually, this is going to be gated. We've got 3 games. We got 3 suites. We got the New York Jets with Patrick Mahomes coming into town on October 1st in New York.
Oh, that'll be popular.
We got the Texans Steelers down in Houston, and then we got the Chargers and who are they playing? The Rams? I'm going to look real quick. Chargers versus the Raiders at the SoFi Stadium on October 1st. So East Coast, West Coast,
an awesome
Central.
Stadium.
Yeah, so 10,000 points, all-inclusive suite. There's going to be one Bilt staff member in the suites hanging out, so I'm hosting it, and Thomas is going to come with me. Thomas and I are going to co-host 30 Bilt members in the suite
Nice.
at the Texans. But I redeemed, dude, it was 14,809 miles round trip for his ticket, and I have the Quest card, so I get 5,000 points back. So 9,809 miles round trip for Thomas to come. Like I can't. Can't come. That was a really long story short to say. Like I have enjoyed my United status so far. And
You've had a good run. You've also had a bunch of upgrades.
Man, like 75%. I think I'm sitting at right.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and you and I joke about it, but I mean, like I went first loser for both flights this week, both out and back from Vegas. I was the first one on the upgrade list not to clear, and paid pretty dearly for both coach tickets.
But that's my strategy, right? Is my competition in and out of Atlanta. Sure, there's some people coming to Newark, but
yeah,
I would be way down below you if I was flying Dulles to Vegas because every single United elite in the world is flying that route.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Is working out. Anyways, Bilt Experiences. So the other thing we're doing for Rent Day real quick, wraps this up, is we're doing 5X on all sports tickets that you buy on October 1st up to 10,000 Bilt Points. So if you got any football, baseball playoffs, NBA season, you got season tickets that you got to pay off October 1st, and that's the Bilt card only. If you pay with the Bilt card, you get 5X tickets. But I hope at noon on Wednesday, what is next Wednesday? 27th. Yeah. So the day this releases, noon Eastern, the window opens to redeem Bilt Points for your NFL tickets at one of those 3 games. So it's pretty good. So we have up to 100 tickets for upper reserve seats. So if you're like, oh, there's not a chance, like there's 100 tickets to 3 games.
Yeah.
And the suite tickets, we got between 20 and 40 suite tickets for each one. It's 10,000 points each. So get your fingers ready noon by the day you're listening to this. If it's not noon Eastern yet, get your Bilt app out and start swiping and get those NFL tickets.
So you're saying I need to have the audio up early to make sure people know that.
I
can do it. I can do it. That being said, I sadly will not be buying any sports tickets on October 1st because the Yankees are not making the playoffs, man. It's ugly.
I I think the Braves playoff tickets will be sold out by then, so I gotta buy before 5X.
All right. Well, I think those are both awesome offers, and I think, I know we're Bilt homers. There's the ding in the background, I'm sure. But again, like, just giving folks that variety, that's super awesome, and I will hope to be lucky enough to make it to one of the suites. Although do the Jets really still play football?
They do,
Okay.
and,
Right.
they lost that guy, the quarterback they had for 4th place, but
Right.
and
Right.
then Zach Wilson didn't look so good, like you know what I don't like ever we're going off a tangent, oh boy, crazy. Here's the thing I don't like about Zach Wilson. He doesn't have the sideline demeanor, even if you're losing. He sits down on the bench, doesn't talk to anybody, looks like a dejected high schooler. Like,
Mhm.
dude, you're an NFL quarterback, man. Let's and you know the
Look alive,
camera's
look
on you. Yeah,
alive.
look alive, man. Get your mind right, as my coaches used
Yep,
to say. Get your mind right,
yep,
Wilson.
yep.
Be aware that the cameras are on you at every given time.
Get
That's
your
all I gotta
mind
say
right,
about that.
Kerr.
Get your mind right.
All right, I got a question for you, and it comes along with this philosophy of how I'm rearranging after the Delta announcement. So, I guess my microphone is really poorly placed today because you can't see that got the American
Oh,
Airlines shirt on.
old
So
school A shirt,
the
yeah.
old school AA shirt. So here's where I stand. We talked about this in the Slack community. I have 2 Delta reserve cards for 2 different businesses, and at this point have decided that I'm dumping both of them. And thanks to our buddy Julian, he pointed out that I already have platinum status for next year, so putting another $160,000 in spending on a Delta card between now and the end of the year just to earn diamond for one more year just isn't gonna be worth it because the diamond ranks won't thin out till 25 based on these new requirements. As we've seen with United, the 1K ranks haven't thinned out this year yet. I think they will come next year, but they haven't thinned out yet. So I made the decision that both Delta reserve cards are going away. So I will no longer hold. I don't think I'll hold any Delta credit card, to be honest. So this this presents this opportunity. As of today, I have 60,000 loyalty points with American Airlines. It's like 59-ish thousand. So I'm right on the cusp of starting to hit those bonuses where
Mhm.
you get bonus for shopping and stuff like that. We have some computers to buy for the business that I can, take advantage of, one of the Apple offers on the Advantage shopping portal, which will be a nice multiple and will bump me up. You'll probably get me close to 100,000 depending on how many miles they put out for the next promo offer. And then I've got a Barclay card that I don't spend a ton on. And I would like to have some backup status on someone. And so Delta Platinum is, probably fine. I could settle for a lesser level of American status, but at this point I'm looking at something in the neighborhood of like, and I'm guessing at this point because we don't know what promos are going to come between now and the end of the year, Advantage hotel stays, things that I could maximize where I could earn a bunch of points. But let's just say that somewhere between 25 and $50,000 in credit card spend, business credit card spend that would be unbonused, that I would have to put on the Barclay card versus, so let's say my Cap One Venture card, Venture X, and
Seems like a solid opportunity cost though, right? I mean,
that's the question,
mm, yeah,
right? That's the question.
I
So
will
let's just say that you value those points at exactly the same. I'm not saying you do or you don't. If I had to put 25,000 points, $25,000 on that card, I'm leaving 25,000 Cap One Venture X points on the table by putting the
if
spend there.
50,000.
I said if I spend 25,000 on the card, I'm
Yeah.
leaving. Well, because 1 to 1, like, so we're in 1 extra on the venture.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it too is, as you well know, Advantage miles are a valuable currency that other than my Bilt Rewards card, I can't
Ding.
I can't earn, and it's your fault because I'm not transferring to America because you keep coming out with these incredible offers. Now I'm gonna burn some
Yeah.
points for sports tickets and stuff like that. So, as much as I love the fact that Bilt transfers to American, I haven't transferred to them, because there are all these other incredible offers. So, I need a way to build up my Advantage balance. It's I'm under 200,000, and so I do need to build it up anyway, and so it's like, "All right, well, do I take this opportunity to also get Executive Platinum for next year?"
I mean, how many times are you gonna fly American next year, first of all? Over, under 10
It's
seconds.
a good over under. You almost certainly have to be under,
Yeah.
but I would say if you set the over under at 6 or 7, it would be hard to pick.
Yeah. Your under's 10, man. I think for what will probably be 5 or 6 flights, you can just buy what you want and suck it up, and status ain't gonna matter anyways. You might get an upgrade in the front of a 737 from Dallas to Dulles for 2.5-hour flight, and you'll do all of this work for that. So on that hand, I'm like, don't even worry about it. On the other hand, what is gonna happen to the American and United program now that Delta has done this? What
Yeah, we
what are we
yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week.
Yeah, what are we gonna see from them? Which is why I am of the opinion now that even for you, you're gonna be Maybe I saw something on Twitter about global services again next year. I don't know what's going on with that, or if
That
you
was
feel
in
the
the that,
same.
that was in the Slack community.
It's like, all right, you're going to be at least a 1K next year
I am.
with United.
I've already done that. Yeah, that's already
Yeah,
done and gone. And by the way, we do need to talk about United and their milestones beyond that for plus points in a minute. But yeah, keep going.
I'm sure it's clear as mud.
It is.
I
It's as dirty as mud too.
sorry, as the COVID's coming back. All right, I've talked for 20 minutes. My throat's going to say that's it. I don't think anybody should be putting, unless you're in a very unique and specific situation like I am, where like the path is clear for the next year and a half. I don't think you should be putting your eggs in any basket. I mean, I think like you should book the best, cheapest ticket there is. If you want an economy plus seat, just fork over the extra 30 or $40 for it. If you want an aisle seat, just do that. Otherwise, put all of your eggs. Every single egg should go in the transferable currency basket, so you can just book whatever you want in whatever class you want. So for you, man, like you're not even gonna fly. You're not even gonna fly them 5 times. I'll say you'll fly them 4 times next year. If so, for 4 flights, what does that status matter anyways? I don't know. If you get to Platinum Pro, like, good enough. Like, that's gonna get you whatever you need for those flights because you're probably not gonna clear the upgrade anyways, which is the only difference with Executive Platinum. You get some milestone awards that are nice, like some more SWUs, yeah. But, dude, you don't have time to go book a revenue fair and then upgrade you and Michelle to business. You're not gonna do it, man. Like, you're not gonna use the SWUs. You're just gonna be scrambling like I am. I still have, like, 6, and I'm just not like, "When am I gonna do that?" I don't know. So for you, man, I would say go get more transferable points and book whatever you want, and don't even have this like hanging over your head for 4 flights next year.
Yeah, I mean it's a valid point. I still lean towards it, and part of me leans towards it.
Oh, I know you're gonna do it. I'm just telling you what why I already know you're gonna do it. I'm just saying don't.
Part of me leans towards it just to see, like, as I go through, I probably need to put some level of spend on the card to get there. Like, I don't think I can do it just from the promos. But like we said, we don't know what comes out with Advantage hotels and stuff like that, and certainly shopping promos. So part of me says to put a low level of spend on the card in, the tail end here of September and October, and then at the end of October, see what I've gotten for mileage offers on Advantage shopping and hotels, and then reassess from there. Because quite frankly, the lower the number is in terms of number of miles, the more likely I am to go for Executive Platinum. Easy answer is if I could just do it on shopping portal and hotels, I would just do it and I wouldn't waste the credit card spend. On the flip side, I feel like to take advantage of being able to do an international trip for our family and be able to fly all 4 of us at least one direction business class on American, I feel like I need something like $400,000, that's 400,000 Advantage miles. And having 190,000 just ain't cutting it. So I do need to build that balance up one way or another. And so there's some leaning in there a little bit on maybe not the best use of spend to earn some more currency that I find valuable that like would love to earn through Bilt, but damn it, you keep coming up with these promos.
Yeah, we got some more cool stuff coming up too that's gonna make people transfer their points out.
And before I forget, I do want to talk about this from a United standpoint because I do think it's one of the weaker points, in terms of milestone rewards. So once you hit 1K status and spend your whopping $24,000 on base airfare or 24,000 PQPs, United has milestones where you can earn more if you continue to spend more. And so the milestones are an additional 3,000 PQPs or $3,000 in spend, essentially. A little bit more than that, obviously, because it doesn't count taxes and stuff like that. So do you remember what the milestone benefit is for spending the extra 3,000?
I just got to I'm literally pulling up my app now because I just saw what my offer was, and it was something where I wasn't even like going to attempt to meet the 3,000 PQPs because I was like, oh, it's 40 more plus points.
Yours is 40, mine's 20.
I got 40. So it says next milestone is 40 for me. That's what it says right here.
That's interesting. All right, screenshot that and send it to me because I gotta call United and ask about this because my milestones are 20.
Maybe this is because I'm still not officially at the 1K requirement. So this is saying if I get all the way up to 15,000 PQPs, but then down below it says after meeting the requirements for 1K members earn 20 plus points for every 3,000 PQP.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah, and so
but then it says 40. Like, well, I'm not gonna show everybody my account, but it says 40. It says next milestone includes.
Yeah, just show everybody your account. It'll be great.
It says next milestone includes 40 plus points. So again, in true fashion, the United app is confusing to me. I don't know which one is is going on here.
I'm pretty sure the milestone is 20. And so just for folks who may not be United flyers, what you get for spending 3,000 extra dollars with the airline on a yearly basis is you get the possibility for a one-way domestic first class upgrade. That's what you get for $3,000.
Keyword.
Yeah, right. It's like, because you already have a bucket of plus points that they've given you, and I'm like, "Man, that's just" like, it's not even a system-wide upgrade. It's not even an
Yeah.
international it's not 40 points, which would be an international one-way business class upgrade. It is literally 20 points, and I'm like, "Man, that is so lame."
I mean, even at 40 points, I was like, "Oh, I'm nowhere close. I'm not even gonna try and do
Mhm.
this because 'cause I'm flying." I mean,
Right.
I've booked 6 flights while I was stuck in bed, for the next 3 weeks, and actually only 1 is on United out of
Yeah.
6 because there's no point in me doubling down on this to just get 20 more plus points.
No, like, I could see, like, if it was 40 and you were, call it 2 of the 3,000 PQPs through that
Yeah.
level, it could spur you to push 2
Yeah.
tickets one direction or another, but to commit $3,000 in spending for the chance at 1 domestic upgrade,
Which I already have as a
no
1K
thank you.
member, so,
Yeah, no thank you.
and again, like, sitting up front is great, ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong, we are
Mm.
2 of the most privileged dudes in the entire world for everything we get to do. But sitting up front on a United A320 just ain't that special, like, just ain't worth, like,
It's not, but I think this also goes back to something that, like, I say it jokingly, but I do mean it. Like, I think the absolute best and most accurate marketing in the US aviation industry is Spirit Airlines in the big front seat,
dude, I
because
was just about to say, I just booked 2 $19.90 Spirit tickets because if I wanna sit up front in the exact same seating configuration and seat as a United A320, I can sit up front in the big front seat on a Spirit A320. Go ahead and confirm that now on both my flights for $40 each way and not worry about plus points, PQPs, PQFs, like, not
yep,
worry
yep.
about any of that.
Well,
And they got Wi-Fi, so
and to that point, you get a big front seat. And so, like, my flight yesterday was a little bit of an anomaly, but it was one of those things where it was busier. Life is Beautiful concert series is going on in Vegas right now, so flights were busy. I was in coach. I did not clear even with plus points added to my reservation. Whatever, like you said, we live a privileged life. But for me, at least on planes, it's all about productivity. And I have an iPad Pro. I have the smaller size iPad Pro, so I can type in coach and I can do work. But in this case, the guy that was in the middle seat next to me was definitely, a big dude, and on top of being a big dude, made 0 attempt to try to stay inside the armrest. And to that point too, his elbow was, I mean, probably a good 3 or 4 inches into my seat. And so I was leaning out into the aisle, typing on my computer and then getting bumped by people as they coming back up down the aisle. Yeah, my productivity sucked. So yeah, if you gave me the choice there to have decent Wi-Fi on Spirit and a big front seat where I had space, like I should pull out my laptop, yeah, I mean that has considerable value to me. So to your point, I think the biggest benefit for elite status is still domestic upgrades for me, and it really has nothing to do with the meals or any other garbage. It's just having the space to work without getting wrecked.
still have not flown a United flight long enough to get a meal
Yeah, well,
domestically,
that's probably a
and
good thing.
I don't really plan on doing that,
Yeah,
to
that's
be honest.
probably a good thing.
Man, flight, I couldn't believe it. When I pull into the United gates at Atlanta now, I kinda check out and look at just with the type model plane and see if I could guess where it's going based on the flight schedules I've looked at long enough now. They're still flying the A319 Atlanta to San Francisco. Like, hard pass, man. Like, no way. The Wi-Fi on that thing ain't gonna work. It's old. You're not getting an upgrade with only 3 rows of first class. I don't know what the meal is on an A319 from Atlanta to San Francisco, but that's not why I'm booking the flight either. So I was
No.
like,
Uh-uh.
I didn't even know the thing flew that far. I didn't know the baby bus went that bad. But yeah,
Mm-mm.
it's gonna be a pass for me right there.
Yeah.
I got one more United question. One more
Yeah,
for you.
go ahead.
You mentioned earlier, and this is completely selfish and advantageous for me. How much do you think the 1K ranks clear out next year for United? How much better are those upgrade lists going to be for us as 1Ks when nobody else has been able to meet these admittedly stiff new requirements?
I don't think it's gonna be as many as we expected because I do think airfare has stayed higher for longer than I expected when they announced this stuff last year. But I would expect that I would expect a double-digit percentage drop in the number of 1Ks. I don't think it's 30%. I think it's probably 15 to 20% is my best guess.
Really? Yeah, man, that means a lot of people are flying still a ton. What
I
is it?
look, the planes are
54 segments and 18 spin, 18 grand? Is that it?
think about it this way. I flew Vegas, Dulles, Vegas, and then I Vegas, Chicago because I did the overnight. Still, like, I hate that, but it's like so I take the 6 PM Vegas to O'Hare, lands at, like, 11:30,
All into the Hilton.
fall into the Hilton by hopefully by midnight. Alarm goes off at 5:30 to get on the 7 AM out. It is a miserable way to get home, but at least I get the full day at home. Anyway, on that Vegas O'Hare flight, don't quote me on this. I want to say it was a $400 one-way ticket, and I was 5th on the upgrade list before applying plus points. That flight was fairly decently full with elites, whether it was business or pleasure, whatever. I think my fare on the way out was in the $400 or $500 range as well. And again, flight was very full with elites. So there's still for me to be 5th on the list on Vegas, Chicago on a Thursday, not a popular day to leave Vegas. That tells you there's still a lot of elites flying, and if they're flying and they're flying at the same price as I am, they've got a reasonable shot to hit 1K.
That's an elite heavy plane right there. I probably, one case would be number 15 on the list. That'd be unbelievable.
Exactly right, and I mean, it was on my Los Angeles flight the week before, it was worse than that. So, I mean, and don't get me wrong, Dulles, LA is a very popular route, but I still see some pretty deep lists, and I think, not to complain about it, but, I'm not clearing all the time, and so if I'm not clearing all the time, that means there are a number of global services for folk ahead of me, and if there's 4 or 5 globals ahead of me, to your point, there's 30 or 41Ks behind me just by the segmentation.
Brutal. That's why, again, if you're listening to this, probably shouldn't be putting all your eggs in a basket for elite status.
All right, so here's the question. Was the Bilt rent day announcement the thing that you were hiding from me that you were going to talk about on the show, or was there something else that you still have hidden in your basket?
No, there's something else. It's an article by
dun,
Lucky.
dun.
An article came out this morning that I just found highly entertaining about
as
people
not
being aware.
Time and read what you're talking about. Go ahead.
People not being aware. So it's kind of a reverse thing where the headline gets you and then you read the whole story. And I actually saw this on Twitter the other day. I'm never calling it the X. I saw it on Twitter the other day and didn't even realize what I saw. So there's a New York Times columnist apparently named David Brooks who posted a picture of a very mediocre looking burger, fries, and some kind of liquor drink that says, "This meal just cost me $78 at Newark Airport. This is why Americans think the economy is terrible." In reality, and I absolutely love this, this apparently occurred at 1911 Smokehouse Barbecue, which is a restaurant in Newark. They looked this up. They looked the guy's tab up, and his burger and fries were $18, and his bar tab was $60. But he, of course, neglects to share that information in the picture or in his caption. He just shows a picture of one drink of burger and fries. So it has turned into the Twitterverse making fun of this guy, and people put awesome pictures of a little thing of olives and then a massive bottle of champagne that's like, "Olives cost me $125. This is what's wrong with America's economy," and just absolutely roasting this guy. And then to top it off, 1911 Smokehouse Burger has come out with a special for a burger, fries, and a whiskey drink called the D-Brook Special for $17.78. And they've had a big $78 and crossed it out like it's a special down to $17.78 to roast the guy who tried to roast them. And that if you're in brand marketing, that is what is needed these days. If you go the whatever you want to call it, politically correct, appeasing narrative, nobody cares. If you turn around as a business and you get on the offensive and we're like, "No, this guy live, we're roasting this guy," that's amazing. So I thought the story was just absolutely hilarious. And if you go look at NYT David Brooks on Twitter and see this post, I hope he doesn't take it down, because all the responses now are just hilarious pictures. This is absolutely fantastic.
That is fantastic. I hadn't seen that, and I know who David Brooks is. That is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I love it. All right, so you said you were booking some trips. What do you got scheduled for travel?
Well, I had an awesome trip next week that's now been shortened, but still going to be an awesome trip. Unfortunately, you're no longer going to attend, it sounds like.
I am not, yeah.
We have the annual pilgrimage down to Burns Steakhouse in Tampa. If you haven't done Burns, look it up. It's an experience. And
excellent.
Buddy Howie and my friend Rachel, the three of us have gone with a few other people come in and out of the rotation, I think the last 4 years, and it's such a great experience. So got that down there. Then got a quick trip to Orlando. Actually, then we have the quick trip to Houston. Then I got a RV trip down to Orlando. Then I have another trip to Orlando and Sarasota for a combination thing. And in between that, we got a couple trips to New York planned. So we got this lining up, man, back to back to the airport, lining up for all of October.
Nice. Well, the only thing interesting I got all the standard, Vegas-y, I think I got Denver thrown in there somewhere. I do have a conference booked in Portugal in November, and I'm in and out of Heathrow at this point. I still haven't figured out what interesting way I'm going to get from Heathrow down to Lisbon. I was hoping to get to Andorra, but I can't, because it's a weekend. The train doesn't run exactly the way I need it to run. I was hoping to knock Andorra off my list. I know. I got to find something interesting. So if anybody has suggestions on
Isn't San Marino in that same vicinity? Can't you go via San Marino? Check that out.
I'll have to look and see. Like I thought about Monaco because I haven't been to Monaco. That was another possibility. But I want to find some new crazy dot line or destination to hit on my way. So if folks have cool ideas on how to get from Heathrow to Lisbon without going from Heathrow to Lisbon, I'm all ears.
Can't you go via the Azores Airlines? Probably do that.
I've already done that.
Oh, okay. There you
Yeah.
go. Well,
Yeah. So yes,
yeah,
I could do that. And the Azores are incredible. So if you have the opportunity to go, I would absolutely recommend it. I did actually on that one. I used TAP's stopover, and I did Porto, then Porto to Ponta Delgada, and then Ponta Delgada. So it's Porto to Ponta Delgada was on Spirit, and then I took Azores Air from Ponta Delgada to Lisbon. So got that one already checked off, man.
different Spirit.
Not Spirit, sorry, the other Spirit, Ryanair.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, what Spirit? What kind of fifth freedom Spirit got going on?
Ryanair with a decidedly mediocre plate of microwave pasta for whatever, like $12 or whatever the in-flight meal was.
Sounds yummy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know when we're going to see each other, but hopefully there will be a drive-by between now and when it's race time.
Are you going to the TVG Awards?
I haven't been invited, man. I don't know if am I that special? I mean, you're a bigwig program guy.
Everybody vote for the Bilt card.
I'm an influencer.
Yeah, vote for the Bilt card. We appreciate it. Best no annual fee card. Vote for the Bilt card. Vote.thepointsguy.com.
Ding. All right. Well, lots of crazy travel going. You might see Richard and I running a 5K down at Disney come November. I still haven't decided if I'm actually going to do that. I don't have a problem with running a 5K,
man.
but 2 o'clock in the morning, getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning sounds horrible.
Am I allowed to put my fundraiser out there on the show? Am I allowed to do that?
What am I going to say at this point? No?
No, you can't do that. Ed, your mic can edit this out. Summer, our buddy Summer, Sparkle Mike,
Glitter Mike,
and no, it's Sparkle Mike. So it's really hard to get bibs to run in Disney races. Not surprising. I've never done it before, but Summer found an organization called the AT organization that stands for a really long Latin disease that I do not even want to disrespect by mispronouncing, but have done the research into this. And if you raise money for this organization, then you get a bib to run. We each have to raise $250. And what I think is really cool about this specific organization, the AT organization, is that they assign you a specific kid who has this incredibly debilitating disease. Reading up on it, and I'm on Team Emmy. I am going to give Ed these links, Jeremiah, so he can put this in the show notes. She has her family's done a YouTube video about Team Emmy, and man, let me tell you, I cannot imagine going through what these families go through. The best way to describe AT is essentially it's Lou Gehrig's disease for kids.
Yeah,
it's a slowly degenerative muscle eating disease where they just slowly lose functionality over the course of years, and right now it's essentially 100% life limiting. So anything that folks can do, we'll have the link to put in the show notes here. We'll put the link to Emmy's YouTube channel. You check that out. But Summer, Sparkle Mike, and I are running for the cause of this. They actually sent us very nice packages yesterday with the T-shirt. And this, if you're running a race or organizing a race, this is the most clever thing I've seen. There's a QR code on the back of the shirt that says Team Emmy, and it's a QR code out to the organization. I'm like, oh, finally, like a useful T-shirt that's sponsored, so people can just hold the camera up and be like, what is that? What's Team Emmy? And check it out.
Yeah.
So big shout out to those folks, and we'll have those links in there. If you feel obligated or like generous enough to donate a couple bucks, very modest $250 fundraising donation here, then we would be most appreciative of that.
I will do that, but only on one condition, because I don't have to put my link in too, because I am raising money for the exact same organization. Whether I run or not, I will definitely make my fundraising commitment.
We got to figure out a way to. So Summer had a good idea of anybody that donates is like me getting to spin Summer as fast as I can in the teacups after the race. Like there's like ways that we can make this interesting.
Puke worthy.
Like you get a video of Ed trying to run this race at 3 a.m. or whatever time we got to wake up and do this thing. We'll make it fun for you. How about that?
Yeah.
Ed and I, if you donate to either Ed or I's links in the show notes, then we will 100% figure out a way to send you something that at least puts a smile on your face. Probably going to make you laugh really hard. We'll do that.
I would imagine that there is some amount of donations that would actually get me to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to do something I despise, which is running.
I'd be too worried about you. I'd be trying to run the race and looking back over my shoulder to make sure you weren't on the deck somewhere. Like, do you take his cholesterol medicine? But
hey, come on now. You're the one that's having trouble getting upstairs. You know, right now
that's
I might be able
lungs
to.
Are ravaged with the
right now I might be able. If we should run it now, because this is the week I could beat you.
I literally can't even talk anymore.
All right. Well, Jeremiah's going to complain that we're going too long, so we gotta get out of here. I think you have a hard stop anyway for that day job stuff. Ding.
Yep, dude.
All right. Well, lots of fun travel coming up. The potential for some cool fundraisers and the chance to see Summer Puke. She is going to be coming on the show soon as well. She was going to come on with Gary and Clint last week, but couldn't make it because of the scheduling conflict. So we will have her on soon. Until we upload again, we've got miles to go. The Yankees are not making the playoffs, man. It's ugly.